Hey guys, it's Alison here, and I am back with another video. I know it's been a long time. I had a very busy and stressful job there for a while that took me away from scrapbooking, but I recently was let go, so I have been creating again, and I'm taking Chamel's magical scrapbook class, and since we just returned from a family holiday to Britain, during which two of my daughters and I went to the Harry Potter studio tour in London. I have been throwing myself into making an album for that particular vacation, but more specifically that one day. I know it's an album about an entire day, but if Chamel can have multiple albums about one party, I think I can have probably what's going to turn out to be two albums for this particular attraction. So today I'm going to make a double page layout about the Great Hall. I invite you to go to my Instagram account and see all the other pages I've made for the book so far. My Instagram handle is @daydesigning. So please head on over there, follow me, check out the previous layouts if you like. And so I've got some things ready already. I've added some mist to my two background sheets. These are Echo Park. It's a polka dot on one side, but I liked this grid pattern with the red. I wanted to pick up on the red. And the mist I used, see if I can find it again. It's a Mr. Huey. I think it's called Clay or something. Yeah, there it is, Clay. And I like it because it's pretty subtle when it dries. It's just a soft sort of gray stone color, clay, as you will. And I'm using a variety of products. So this is a brand new from Glitter Girl. That's a Chamel's latest line. And I've also got a couple of strips from her Go Now Go, which I think I will have something like that. And then this is Stampin' Up, really old Stampin' Up. I kind of wanted to bring in the yellow. I haven't quite decided where these are going to go yet, but this is as far as I have gotten for the papers. I also cut this from another one of the Chamel papers as a journaling block. Originally I was going to use a gray cardstock background, and then that one sort of fit, but now it's a bit glaring against the slightly off-white of the background, so I'm not sure if I'm going to use that. I'll see if I can work it in. And then these are the photos I have. I had figured out an arrangement. So one thing I did when I was compiling all the photos for my trip, because I had my big girl camera, my DSL, plus my cell phone, and then my daughter had her cell phone, and my husband had his cell phone. So I actually took all of those devices and took all the photos off them and put them onto my computer. So some of these have come from my daughter and some are mine. This one is my daughter's, I know that for sure, because I didn't get one of the haul. But I think all these other ones are mine. So this one I have decided that I want to bring a little bit more focus to. So I have backed it with some yellow cardstock. That is an old My Mind's Eye. It's from the collectible line. And I've got some of the costumes and then some of the figures at the front. I really liked how they had everything laid out at the studio. They had a ton, I mean, there's just a ton to see there. We only had 4 hours, and we could have done with twice that. But they have like all these figurines like all throughout, and they've all got various costumes on. So I like this. It's a combination of like a first year, Harry Potter in his Gryffindor robes sort of costume to book 7 Neville. Like it's a real mix. And then you've got, Dumbledore and McGonagall and Snape, and then Hagrid. Oh, and Filch. So I can't remember where I was going with that, but I liked how they've got all the costumes, and I wanted to talk about that in my journaling. And I took some pictures of the Gryffindor costumes and Ravenclaw. I didn't get any of, well, I did take one of Slytherin, but it didn't turn out, so I'm not using that. And I didn't get any of, sorry, this is Hufflepuff, of Ravenclaw. I don't know why, but it is what it is. And then I like the fireplace. And then there's a couple of sort of detail shots, the floating candles, and on the wall, the lantern holder thing. So I've been playing with the layout of these photos, trying to figure out how I want them to go. And this is kind of what I was thinking, possibly, maybe. Or maybe something like that. Okay, so I think I just need to stick the background papers down and then go from there, because this is making my head hurt a little bit trying to figure out what I'm doing here. Okay, so I'm gonna start by creating my background with the papers that I have chosen, and because it is a double page spread and I am putting the papers across that seam, this is what I do. I basically stick half of it down on one side, and then I will trim it off. If it's small, I'll use my scissors, as you'll see later, but this is a bigger piece, so I'm going to use my trimmer. And once it's trimmed off, then I can just line up that other side and stick it down. I'm just adding some extra adhesive there to make sure it all sticks in place. And then I will add the 2 longer strips. I am putting ink around all the edges of these, and I'm using the gray ink. That's just Stampin' Up! Basic Gray. It's a pretty dry ink pad that I have. I use it a lot. I do have a re-inker for it, but even when I re-ink it, it still stays dry somehow. I think I just need to get a new ink pad. But it's great for inking edges, because then it doesn't actually leave like a lot of ink around the edges. It's really subtle, so I like that. And the tool I use for inking my edges is a Tim Holtz, I don't even know what they call it. It's an inker. That I've had for a long time, and the pad's getting kind of scuzzy, but it still works. And so here you just see me trimming off those shorter strips. And as you will see, I eventually cover up most of that yellow, so which is unfortunate. But here I am putting it on, same process. For these, I don't, I'm aligning them up across the seam, but I'm not using that bit that I just cut off in on the layout here. I actually do pull them in a little bit later, just to bring more yellow, because I end up covering basically all the yellow on that right hand side because of all the pictures that I have on this layout. So here I am just playing with the placement of the photos. It really gave me a lot of trouble because there's so many, and I do find it sometimes challenging when there are so many photos, and I didn't want to cull any of these down. I'd actually had more when I first started creating this layout, but I chose these 8 as the ones that I wanted to focus on, and the rest can just live on my computer. But it is quite challenging trying to get them all displayed in a way that is pleasing to me and doesn't make it too sort of heavy on one side. So yeah, I play with it for quite a while. So don't worry, those little gaps on the left there, the trapped white space, will eventually get covered up. So here I am, just final placement, kind of, moving everything. The adhesive I use sometimes lifts up nicely and sometimes rips everything to shreds. I think here it was not so bad. And because I wasn't planning on showing that yellow paper, I wasn't really worried if any of the rips showed. Okay, so now that I have all my photos in place, I am just trying to figure out all the rest of the embellishments, and I pull out quite a bit, which I will talk about now. I have amassed a lot more than I can possibly put on this one layout. I've got some label stickers from a Gossamer Blue kit. I'm just going to open this. I have got other stickers from Simple Stories, Documented Life, I think it's called. More label stickers, some word phrases, and then I thought maybe some of the arrows or some of these little bits to sort of scatter around. I have got pieces of ephemera from, this is from the Maggie Holmes Chasing Dreams, I think. These ones are. And then this is from Chamel's, sorry, the name is Starshine ephemera pack. I kind of liked the sentiment on that. And I did want to bring in more blue. I know there's not a ton of blue here, but throughout the album, a lot of the pictures had a very blue cast to it just because of the lighting. So I kind of want to keep that going. I've also got various little chipboard pieces from Gossamer Blue kits again. I'll pull, I'm not sure which, if you can see the top or the bottom, but and then I have a lot of old sort of 12 by 12 sticker sheets that have just like a few stickers on them. So that's just one that says noted. There's a little tab, 5-star rating, big camera. This is from Maggie Holmes Chasing Dreams. The Most Magical Castle seemed appropriate. And this is from an extremely old Cartabella sheet, and I managed to rip the antler off as I was taking it off the sheet, but that kind of seemed like it fit the Great Hall. So I'm not sure if I can fit that in anywhere, but I pulled it aside. And then I've got some of the new Glitter Girl stickers. Maybe that for some journaling. I might add some longer strips to bring in some different colors. Got some lettering. More washi strips. This is again from a Gossamer Blue kit. I was thinking this yellow. Or I might even bring in this sort of brassy gold color. And then a couple of the cut apart 6x6 sheets from Glitter Girl have these yellow journaling boxes. So I might end up going the other way and going with blue, but we'll see. Okay, so I'm going to shut up now and just play and see where things take me. And I think I'm going to start with adding some long strips to it. Okay, so I'm going to play with those strips for a little bit here. So while I'm doing that, I wanted to go back and talk about the photo placement of the two top photos on the right hand side there, the one with the yellow mat and then the one beside it. And I forgot to mention that the reason I tucked that one underneath the photo with the yellow mat with Dumbledore in it was because Snape appears in both photos, so I didn't feel like he needed to be repeated. So that's why I tucked that photo underneath, and then that sort of opened up the edge of the paper there, and it felt not quite so heavy. Okay, so I have finally decided to use these long strips, kind of like washi, and to do basically denote where my embellishments are going to be. I do have a couple extra, because I cut each strip into 3, so I'm just hanging on to that the third bits, and I will put those down later. And I'm getting my title in there. And you saw me use a bit of glue. I think when I pulled off one of the L's, the sticker bit stayed on the sheet. Sometimes that happens. So I just have some liquid glue, and I attach it down with that. I actually find quite often American Craft chipboard letter stickers don't stick very well with the adhesive that's on them, so I use that liquid glue on them a lot. And then I'm just using the tile stickers there for the word the. So here I am bringing back that third strip of those, or the third piece, sorry, of those 2 strips, so that I can add more embellishment there. I do apologize that the edge of this is off camera. I did not realize that when I was filming it, and it's kind of bugging me now as I'm watching it, so it must be bugging you. But anyways, now I am just playing with all those little cut aparts and stickers and the chipboard, and just trying to find placements for everything. There's a close-up at the end, so you'll get to see this, but it says you're only limited by your imagination, which I thought was super appropriate for this Harry Potter studio tour. And I popped it up with some foam tape to give it dimension. And putting that journaling card there, I'm going to layer a ton of things behind it and on top of it, so it slowly comes together. And this is where I eventually fill in that gap. It was probably bugging you. Quite a bit of things in there. I do bring that blue journaling card up there, and a yellow label sticker eventually, as well as several other little bits and pieces. When I'm embellishing things, now I laid down those strips, kind of, you know, washi-like strips, to denote where my embellishment clusters were going to be. And so then my thought process is to make sure that each cluster has a little bit of something different, but then something that brings them all together. In this case, it's like the blue and the yellow that I'm trying to bring across, and then I come back in later with some red enamel dots to bring the red around. I've got a few red chipboard pieces that get scattered in these embellishment clusters as well, and that just helps tie everything together. It's as if, you know, your hands are sort of bundling something together. These little bits help do that. So that top right corner is looking a little bare to me. I want to add something up there. So I've got that label sticker from the Glitter Girl sticker sheet. And then that sticker in my hand right now, the diamond shaped one, is from the same sheet as the large camera and the stag head sticker. Super, super old Cartabella that has been in my stash. I don't even know how long, maybe 5 years. Like, it's just time to get it used. So I was super excited to be able to get them all on this sheet, and they fit, they work. So here, yeah, I tried to pull up the chipboard sticker from the Gossamer Blue kit to put the antler underneath it, and ripped it. So liquid glue to the rescue. I have, what is it, Aleene's all-purpose glue or something like that. I'll have to try and find it, and I'll let you know what it is. But I love it. It dries matte, and it is super strong. So I've put that large camera down there in the bottom right-hand corner. And I love how it plays off the craft sort of wood grain in the red and white striped paper. And you may notice I tend to work on these clusters. I kind of work on one and then move over and then go back to it, and then, you know, I sort of work around the page. And that's all part of my process because it helps me make sure that they're all cohesive and coming together and relating to each other. So now I'm going to go in with my journaling, and I eventually pulled down that blue journaling card that's underneath the yellow tag there because I needed a little bit more room for journaling. So that was kind of a good happenstance that had room on it. But I am almost done here. Once I get my journaling in, then I just go on a hunt for some enamel dots and things with a bit of a different texture. That's the other thing that I try and do with all my layouts, is make sure that it's not just paper. I've got some chipboard on here already, and that gives dimension, and I've popped some things up, like that large camera down at the bottom is on foam tape, as well as the big imagination die cut, that's on foam tape. And the storybook sticker is also on Pop Dots. But it's nice to bring in something with different textures. So I'm dotting around some of Chamelle's wood buttons, and then I actually go onto her sticker sheet, her puffy sticker sheet, and pull out, she's got lions and badgers on there. And the lion, I can't remember if that was, I know that Luna Lovegood used to wear the giant lion when she watched them play Quidditch. But I can't remember right now if that was a Gryffindor thing or a Ravenclaw. I think it's Gryffindor. And then the badger is because I have got the Hufflepuff costumes there, and that was their insignia, was the badger. So it's kind of fun. It's like, it's, you know, little fun elements like that that really bring the layout to life, I think. It's just little details that, you know, maybe the average person looking through your albums isn't going to know, but every now and then somebody looking through would be like, oh, you've got a badger, or, you know, whatever. And you know it, and it helps tell the story. So now I just added some enamel dots, and that's it. So I've got some close-ups here for you. That is the whole layout. So there's a lot of stuff on this layout, but I honestly feel like it's not super busy looking. Sometimes when I look at people's layouts and there's like a ton of stuff on it, it's overwhelming. But I really think that I found a way to balance all the bits, all the stuff with the photos, and keep the photos front and center and the story. So I hope you enjoyed this layout process and my narration. I don't normally narrate my layouts, so hopefully you like this. And if you want to see more, then please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments. Thanks so much.